The Museo ng Kaalamang Katutubo is a foundation undertaking museum development and cultural education. MusKKat's collection is a repository of both tangible and intangible heritage and the embedded kaalaman. We explore and share these with everyone curious and interested in cultural objects, in processes of facture and accompanying stories and sundry information. One of the ways we share and interact is MusKKat's cultural brunch, entitled Usapin, Usapan, and delivered as a podcast. It is a venue for an informed and informative conversation between MusKKat, represented by yours truly, Corazon Alvina, and one subject matter expert. MusKKat's Usapin at this time is Inumang Pinoy, Usapang Inuman with Miss Micky Fenix, Philippine food and drink expert. Miss Fenix is a tireless researcher, editor, and PDI columnist, seasoned convener of culinary events here and abroad. She has authored food books, edited magazines, judged countless competitions, tasted all possible edibles and delectables around the world. She will regale us with Inuming Pinoy. Hi, Mickey. How have you been? Thank you very much for allowing us to talk to you in this podcast. I know we've had this conversation before, but in a different manner. We were face to face, and so I thought, our team thought, that we could reprise our usapan about Pinoy Inuman.
Okay, I'm ready. I
Okay.
hope I can answer all your questions.
Well, the first one will be like an intro. What do you think? How do you think this inuman thing started with Filipinos? Not that I'm saying that it is only Filipinos who drink, but we seem to have some sort of characteristic, mannerisms, habits, behavior about drinking. Please.
Yeah, well, in my research, it said there that when Picafetta was the first one to write about it, of course. I mean, that's how we learned about it. But apparently, um, Filipinos, in order to celebrate, they have to drink. And
Mhm.
not only once, during the date of celebration. Sometimes it goes on for 30 days, 1 week, you know. It's very funny how when I discovered that, I said, what? I thought it was only a trait of the Warais because the Warais love to drink. And apparently, it's not true. You have people from Cagayan North, you have people from Apari, they all love to drink. And of course, when if you go to Batanes, their gin bottles are litro, which we don't find here. And half the boat that brings supplies there is Ginebra.
Enlighten, please. What is it about drink? Is it about a human or Filipino? Is it the taste of the liquid? Is it what the liquid does to your body? Is it uh, is it the interaction with friends, the camaraderie? What is it about drink? I'm very curious about the effect of taste.
The effect of taste. Well, I'm not very sure about that, but we Filipinos, even our ancestors, they love to celebrate. So to complete the celebration, they had to drink. For them, like they get, for instance, from coconut, the wine from coconut. Some of them, they just use the coconut, um, water and then ferment it and then they drink. Not really for the other things that we know of, like making ginatan or something like that. It was really for drinking. And then the other native palms, they would also have it for drinking. I don't know what it is, but it's I suppose if they're in mourning, they have to drink. If they're happy, they have to drink. You know, it's the way they thought of heaven. Heaven to them was consistently eating and drinking. So maybe they were trying to create their own kind of heaven here while they were here.
And
So
so it's
it's that way.
and
Yeah,
we have sources of heaven from the botanical resources from Apari to Holo, apparently, because as you said, palms, and there are other sources, anything that
sugar
ferments, like
cane. Yeah,
vinegar, so sugar cane. So maybe we can talk about these different types of uh, alcoholic
yeah,
fire water. Um,
yeah,
yeah, maybe you can tell us what tuba is, and then later on what basi, and
yeah.
what else is there?
Well,
Lambanog, but lambanog is distilled tuba, isn't it? And
yes, yes,
and of course we
yeah,
also have rice wine. We have
yes,
tapoy, tapoy and palak. Please.
yes. Right. Well, one of them is nipa sap.
Mm-hmm.
That's called laksoy. Okay. Uh, it's made by distillation.
Mm-hmm.
You boil the nipa tuba in huge vats of karahay full of cold water on top. When the tuba boils, it evaporates and condenses on the underside of the karahay, which is on top of it. And that's what they collect. And then they said that in laksoy, they put in raw potato slices to remove the roughness of the laksoy. Uh, the priest, old priest of Butuan, tempered the laksoy's liquid fire with slices of duhat. uh, and then during they use that during the mass. I'm talking about Catholic priests this time, not the ancient priests. Okay. Of course, we know that if it is fermented under the sun, it will become vinegar, like in paumbong.
Yes.
It's made of nipa, no?
Mm-hmm.
And then Father Juan Delgado of a Jesuit said that the first distillate is called vino ordinario. The
Vino,
second one,
vino
ordinario.
ordinario.
Vino, yeah. The second one is called dalisay. Di
Hmm.
ba ang ganda?
Oo.
And then, if you redistill the dalisay, it becomes mistela. That's
Miss
the
Ella.
name that it. Mistela. Yeah. Now, as to lambanog, it is of course coconut wine, tuba.
Mm.
It is distilled by boiling the tuba several times and collecting the condensate. It is expensive because 15 gallons of tuba produces only 1 gallon of lambanog. So, kaya mahal. But it's very, very pure. And then one of the Jesuit priests wrote in the 18th century that you could add cinnamon, canela to it, or lime, orange peels. The orange peels were naranjita, the Chinese orange.
But I
Uh,
thought these were new inventions of the manginginom later. I didn't know that it was because I think some of them now add raisins.
yeah, and butiki.
I didn't know about the butiki. Paano daw yung butiki?
I don't know, siguro pang ano lang, it's like the Chinese, di ba, when they add snake to their wine, parang it makes it very, adventurous and, something like that. I remember somebody telling me when I was in Lukban that they do add that sabi ko sa kanila, what will it taste like? I said, they don't know, but it seems like a very adventurous kind of thing. That's why they do it. I don't think they really do it for the flavor or anything like that. Diba?
Or whatever
Parang ganun.
effic
I like the worm. Like the worm in the Mexican diba, when they add worm to
I
it.
so
Parang
it's
ganun.
daring, it's a macho thing that that they're willing to
Yeah.
drink something in which some part of an animal has been swimming. I
Para lang adventurous siguro yung feeling mo when you drink it.
yeah.
You know.
But
But
uh
the
going back to
flavoring, as you said,
Going back to
Mm.
Lambanog, Mickey,
Mm.
there is, I mean, alcohol is measured by the strength of alcohol is measured by a percentage, the percentage of
Yes.
alcohol,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
how are they able to maintain a specific standard of alcohol content for Lambanog, or they don't?
Apparently, but I don't really know the process of doing that. But then they told me that it's usually 90 proof or even above that. Yeah,
92% stronger,
90.
90,
Oo, oo.
stronger than the alcohol that we're supposed to use
Grabing alcohol.
for the pandemic. I mean, that is really strong. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
really fire water. But
yeah, it is.
do they drink this pure, or is there some sort of, well, not a chaser, but is it a mixed drink, or how do they
No,
take?
no, no. It's pure. It's pure. Of course, they had the later flavors for the younger ones because they wanted the younger ones to imbibe uh, the drink. So they would put in. They had flavors like bubble gum,
Oh,
okay, and flavors like I remember kasi I used to work at ABS, the the digital form of
mhm.
ABS, and then those were all young people. I was the oldest there. So they all thought I was the boss. Kasi I was the oldest. And then they said they invited me to one lambanog party that they had, and all the flavors there. There was strawberry, there's blueberry, there's you know. I said, where'd you get that? And it was all colored, all colored. If it's strawberry, they of course it's red, and then the bubble gum was blue.
Oh Lord.
You know.
I
Oh
suppose that
yeah, and then
we,
I would drink it, and I'd say it's just like you added julep to it. There's a bit of flavor, but malakas pa rin. It was very, very strong. And they really loved it, these young people, just because of the thought na it's flavored, I think.
yeah, but I suppose the purists bristle with the thought of
Of course,
beloved lambanog being adulterated with these
correct.
young or contemporary flavors.
At saka you didn't know that it was safe because I don't know where they got it. You know, maybe hindi naman totoo may flavoring. Maybe just they added food coloring or something. I don't know. So it was rather. I asked them, where did you buy this? Oh, it on the internet. What else? You know,
But is there a
something like
point
that.
of comparison among these things? I would suppose that lambanog would be stronger than tuba,
Oh yes.
for instance.
Oh yes.
And
Yeah.
maybe tuba and basi would have the same kick, or again a little bit different. But basi is quite sweet. I've
Yeah. Well, there are two kinds. One is the basing babae, which is the sweeter one, and the basing lalaki, which is really the stronger one. In other words, basing babae kasi it stops the fermentation at a certain point, so it's still sweet because
but
of the
it has
sugar cane, di
alcohol
ba?
already, even if
Yes, but it's not that much. I mean, siguro if you want 90 proof hindi yun, siguro mga about 60 or something like that. Basta it's not really strong. It's not really strong. I remember we went to one of the famous basi makers in Ilocos,
mhm,
and they demonstrated, how they did the basi. Of course, it's cooked. It's cooked. It's not something that you just ferment there. No,
mhm.
it's cooked. And then, so I was looking at it, and then they said, okay, this one is the lalaki and this one is the babae. Then I saw a carabao, going round and round. Apparently, that's how they squeeze the sugarcane juice out of it. So they put it there. Tapos yung carabao would go around and around, parang bababa yung to squeeze it. And then one of the foreigners with us was asking, so, where do you get the juice? I said, that's the wee wee of the carabao. But I was just teasing him. Eh. So yun. And then they showed us how they cooked it. And then apparently, if you cook it long enough, then it becomes a laki.
Mm.
And
I
then if pagka hindi masyadong niluto, then it's the babae.
I
But
suppose
people are really,
concentrate yung alcohol or things I mean the liquid evaporates leaving behind the alcohol, I guess.
yeah. But it's also the length of time that you ferment it. Because
The
it says
fermentation before the boiling, you mean?
no, it's after. If you the fermentation fails, it has a lot of sugar and is low in alcohol. That's the babae. Basing lalaki completed the fermentation. It has a higher alcohol content, therefore, and it's less sweet. It's still sweet, but less.
But what I like is
Um,
the suka from the basi. That is what I like. Suka,
yeah,
no, not
yeah.
the
Me
basi.
too. I love the ano because it is a little bit sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Meron pa rin siyang konti.
Konti. But how
Oo.
about rice wine? It's only in the north that they do it, no? They have kapoy.
No. They have it in Bukidnon. The
Also,
Manobos do it also.
all
Yeah.
right.
The rice wine, it's actually, I mean, people think that the rice wine is made with the rice per se, but
Mm.
it is not. It is the yeast that is made from the rice. If you ferment it, then it has that yeast. That's the one that you make into tapu. Okay?
Ah.
Um, the manobos would soak it overnight, then pound it to make a paste.
Mm.
Add chili. Didn't know that.
Chili. Mm.
Yeah. Then mix the rice paste with the root from the place and some leaves. I mean, it's very earthy. Then they dry it for several days, and that's how they make the yeast. And
Yeah.
then they call it tape.
Tapay.
Tape. Oh, that's the manobos. Um, and then sometimes they would sprinkle it on the boiled corn,
Oh.
cassava, or sorghum. Spread it out on banana leaves, and then the next day, place in a jar for a month. The
Mm-hmm.
resulting wine is called agkud. Agkud.
And what
That's
is that?
another time. That's still it's like tapoy pa rin, but it's different. This one they put it on uh corn, boiled rice, cassava. So it becomes a different thing. It's not only rice wine. It
Mm-hmm.
becomes cassava wine and all that. Uh, the tiru rice of Bukidnon eat the rice the next day. Just like when I went to Mindanao just before this pandemic, you know,
Mm.
in the morning we would be given this fermented rice. That's our breakfast,
Oh,
di
but
ba? And nakakalasing kasi it's fermented rice.
I had fermented rice in Malaysia.
Oh, probably it's the same, you know?
It was wrapped in a little banana, a
Yes,
piece of banana leaf, but
yes.
it was very good. And the host, who is half Malaysian and half English, says that
Oo.
she makes it also in London, and she eats it with vanilla ice cream.
Ay, nako. We, when when we were in Marawi, so I remember, Datu,
And datun,
Sharif and
yeah.
Datun. So he told, Nikki, come here and taste this. They call it tapay, that one. And then he said, you have to eat it with ice cream. I
Mm,
said,
also,
what? And then I didn't want to because I know my stomach will revolt. I
mm,
mean, just the thought of it, it's
yeah.
already revolting. I said, no, no, thank you. But he really loved it. He enjoyed it, kept on eating it, and then called somebody from our team who's Filipina. She loved it also. I refused to eat it. I said, I will eat the tapay, but I'm not going to eat with the ice cream.
I
I
ate
thought it's a new thing.
I ate the tapoy and I liked it. I liked it very much. In fact, I said, "Can we bring some home?" And of course, they said, "You know, not. It will smell up the hotel room." And
Oh, yes.
But is it any different from the way the Cordillerans make tapel?
They only ferment it up to a certain point. Yung hindi masyado siya, I mean, it's like the night before they will do it, and then the next day they will eat it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think the tapoy of the Igorots would be the same. Kasi yan medyo may ano yun eh, may aging, di
Mm-hmm.
ba? Yeah. Uh, in the Cordilleras, the yeast, we're talking about the yeast,
Mm-hmm.
is called, uh, what's this? Oh, wood,
But
wood, yeah. Or food, according to the Bontocs,
suppose it's the development of linguistics, no? And
I suppose so.
they go together because when you talk about drinking, when you talk about eating,
Mm,
a lot of linguistics involved, no? When
yeah,
they
oo.
when they analyze, if you analyze uh, the drink. But
Mm,
speaking of the Ivatan, they have palak. And when we were doing the Batanes,
mm.
of course, they were very proud and they said it was the original. The basi was derived or imitated from the palak.
The geographical location, of course, they influence each other. Um, so I think, I was talking to somebody from Batanes, and then they said that that is their wine,
Yes.
right? And then I said, is it the same as Basi? He said, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Said, but it's different in a sense. Maybe you know, these ancient peoples, they would put in certain herbs and other things to, depending on the taste that they wanted.
Mm. When we were doing the book, Dr. Faye Hidalgo um,
Uh,
told me that uh, there is a palak called Minyuvaheng, and it
mm,
aged. It's almost black, and she says it tastes like red wine, like a sotan.
wow. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I suppose wala nang gumagawa, no? Because it takes years, according to her, and they're put in jars and buried. So, and
Yeah. Like
especially now
Basi. Mm.
when gin is very accessible, I think. I mean, they'd rather go with something easy, easy in a way, easy to procure, easy to
Yeah.
acquire, no?
And can be drank right away.
Right
I
away.
mean, they have to wait for that para to age, diba?
Hmm.
Uh, and usually the younger people, parang it doesn't really sort of reverberate to them that you have to age it to make it better.
Hmm.
They want to drink it right away siguro, ganun. Mm.
Isn't there some sort of not formality, but something that is quite structured, especially drinking lambanog in the coconut belt. I mean, uh, Tayabas,
Mm.
Batangas, the
Mm.
Tagay, which is,
Yes.
it's
Yeah, that's a
on
drinking
the
custom,
corner,
yeah.
I think, you know. Would you,
Yeah. Oo.
what do you know about the Tagay?
Well, you drink from a common glass,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And then it goes around the table with all of you drinking. But there is the central and most important is the tanguero. He's the one who opens and closes the session.
Mm-hmm.
He determines the amount needed for the group.
Okay.
You know, because that and the turn, from left to right, right to left, whatever. He knows exactly how much to give everyone so that by the time the session ends, nothing remains of the lambanog. Kailangan maubos lahat yun. So he knows, this group, kaya ito. This other group, hindi to kaya. Ganun. And then he opens the session. He's the first one to drink.
Mm-hmm.
He raises his glass and says to the participant, na ay po, which is, here it is.
Na
And then
ay po,
everyone, na ay po. Ay,
na
it's
ay
very old Tagalog siguro yun eh.
old, yeah.
And then, oo. And then everyone daw replies, pakinabangan po.
Pakinabangan. Mhm.
utilize it, use it.
Yeah.
Yun. And then he goes either left or right. He's the one who decides. Now, sometimes one in the group does not drink.
Like me.
Nakikisali lang siya sa usapan. Maybe hindi siya pwede uminom, I don't know. But he says, parang titikbang ko lang.
Mm.
So he puts it here, the glass on his lips, but doesn't drink. And then the one who will drink for him is always a tanggero. He will be
Kaya
the
yung
one. He
tagyero
does not
dapat
drink.
hindi madaling malasing.
Exactly. And he has to be aware of everything that's happening now. And then I think ang pinaka nakakatuwa for the people drinking is yung mga usap-usapan when you are drinking. So mga tuksuhan or witty banter, yung mga naughty things that they say, yun ang masaya. So actually drinking is social. So yung nag-uusapan kayo. There
Is that
was one though,
mixed company ba yan, Tagayan? I
so
mean,
magkakasama, I think they know each other. Because hindi sila pwede mag-banter na ganun kung hindi kayo magkakakilala. I mean, it's like the mahjong session of my friends. If we didn't know each other, I mean, how can you tease somebody if you didn't know anything about him or her? So parang ganun. I think they have to know each other.
okay.
Mm-mm. Of course, I'm sure meron silang, let's say, may kaibigan na dumating na hindi kilala lahat ng tao. Ganun. But it doesn't matter kasi kilala niya yung isa, tama na yon, okay na yon.
Mhm.
Because I remember si Ed Alegre when he went around doing the Inumang Pinoy book,
Mhm.
siyempre hindi siya kilala doon sa area na yun. Okay? So, siyempre, um, he was invited in and to observe them and then to say what was whatever, something like that. And then, when may tuksuhan yan, like when someone takes too long to drink, kasi, di ba usually, yan shot yan, shot,
Mhm.
tapos na. Pero meron daw na hindi mabilis. So, sasabihin daw nung isa, maigi pang magtagal sa suso kaysa sa baso. It is far better to stay long on a woman's breast than in a glass. So, yun. Mga ganun. Sa Leyte, I've seen them kasi si Yen is Leyteño.
Mhm.
And basta he goes home, somehow may inuman, And first time I went, I visited the province. Then he said, I'm going to drink with my friends. I hope you don't mind.
Mm.
I said, of course not. And he says, you have to answer me kasi after he finishes drinking now, tuba, your sweat is really bad.
Oh.
Yeah. Kasi ang amoy mo, fermentation. So, I said, then you better go take a bath first.
But, Mickey, you mean to say a night of tagay or inuman, tagay, no? Is it determined by the amount? If you bring 1 gallon, it's done. It's not by 6 to 8 or 10 to 7, that sort of thing. It is when they finish. As you said, they can take a long time, di ba? Yung people who nurse their drinks. And
Yeah.
so ang pansukat, your time your time measure is ubos na ba yung galon or 2 galon ng lambanog?
Or something like that. Yeah. I think they can determine right away with the number of people that is going to the inuman how much they should have with them. Parang if you bring an extra, it's the just in case.
Mhm.
Na
Extra galon,
kulang,
you mean? Or extra galon, not extra taga-inom?
no, extra galon. But I see it kasi when they have their drinking session, andyan na yung galon. And parang it's determined na, that's it. And then somebody comes in and has another galon, that's for reserve.
Na-reserve lang
Kasi,
yun.
oo, something like that. Pero sila, in Leyte, I don't think there is a tanggero.
Oh,
They just do it themselves. Yeah, in other words, if you're drinking, you pour yourself, something like that.
so you have your own vasito or baso because, as you said, in the
Only one
Taiwan,
baso. Yeah,
yeah, it's only one that goes around.
but not in Leyte. They have their own, not in Leyte. I think sabi ko nga, what is more important to them? Of course, it's important. Their the drink, the pulutan.
Oh, I was gonna ask about the pulutan. Do they have pulutan?
Ay, sus, ang dami. And I used to hate it that usually the pulutan for me is more attractive than the fiesta food. So, pero every time prepare it ganyan tapos pupunta na diretso dun sa mga umiinom. What I'll do, I'll accost down and then get some. Because they never give the women. I don't know why.
So you mean to say that the drinking session is confined to men only? So even
Yeah,
the
I haven't seen.
Bayanihan,
I
it's
have in Leyte. Although they tell me that in Quezon, ay, grabe daw yung mga babae.
mas
Mas
magaling
malakas
daw uminom. Mas magaling daw uminom ang mga babae sa Quezon.
yan na.
Especially dyan sa Real at Infanta, sa
Oo.
Rizal, maski doon sa malapit sa Mahayhay, magagaling
Oo.
daw yung mga ladies na uminom.
'Di ba sabi nga nila, the ladies can drink you under the table and on top of it.
Muslim Mindanao is not allowed to drink, correct?
No.
No. So the drinking is limited to the non-Islamized communities, like you were talking about the Tiduday, no, and Manobo.
Yes.
Okay.
But I was teasing si Datu. I said, "Oh, tama ka na nga diyan yung tapay niyo nakakalasing.
Oo nga,
Kunya-kunyari lang kayo."
na hindi yun pala pwede rin. But what sort of pulutan or Sanitinyo used to call the pulutan sumsuman, no? I think that's Bicolano.
Sumsuman.
Yeah. So
Yes. That's also what I. Mm-mm.
it's is it like the way the Westerners do a pairing, white with fish or seafood, and bread with this kind? I mean, it's sweet, it's
No,
dry.
no.
How do they determine what sort of sumsuman or pulutan to put on the table to
Yeah,
accompany
what
banog, tuba, palak,
mm. Well, in Leyte, there has to be kinilaw, of course.
kinilaw?
Because, yes, very important sa kanila yung kinilaw. But then they also have, I don't know if you know, di ba parang this worm, uh,
Kinilaw.
how do you,
Tamidok.
again?
Tamidok.
Yes,
Tamidok.
yes, yeah. But in Leyte, it is not tamilok. It is a, um, a sea worm. They dig it from the beach,
Okay.
and then they have that, and then they just put suka, and that's it.
So it's also
Parang ganon, it's still,
kinilaw na worm, in other
oh,
words.
raw. Yeah. So, and they love it. And but then of course, apart from that, they like yung soup because siguro it invigorates them while they're drinking.
Soup and drink
Um,
at the same time?
oh, oo, oo. I've seen that in other places also. Parang it's to revive them pagka masyado na siguro silang lasing.
I
Diba?
not to revive them, but I mean, soup and and fire water
Oo.
together. What sort of soup would you
Di
know?
ba, oh, yung remember, may talunan.
Oh yeah, talun.
Yung rooster na natalo.
Mhm.
But sometimes, nakakatawa, sometimes hindi nila iniintay matalo, basta lulutuin na lang nila.
Kahit panalo pala,
Kasi
pag
magiinuman sila, wala silang pulutan.
hindi pa nailalaban,
Sabi ko,
okay na.
crazy talaga dito. Oo. Then I know of other people naman who like green mangoes
Yeah, I've heard
for
green mango,
pulutan.
but
Yeah, green mango or of course peanuts, yung mga gano'n, singkamas,
as
kilawin.
it's kilawin.
Oo, singkamas,
Anyway,
oo.
the
Remember, I don't know if you eat singkamas with suka. Me, I eat
Yes,
singkamas
yes,
with nipa.
I know. I've eaten singkamas with suka instead of plain rock salt. I wonder also at what age uh, a a a person, a boy, a girl, maybe, would be allowed into that circle of drinkers. Is there an, I suppose, 18? I mean, or is that just 18 just a legalistic or government thing, and culturally, perhaps at a younger age, a boy or a young man may drink, depending on the culture? Ay, kasi yung mga ifugao,
Well,
10 taon pa lang nagngangaga na.
yeah. Yeah, I think depends. Well, the only one that I've really witnessed is in Leyte, and I have not seen a young boy or even teenager join the inuman of the olds.
Boring ang usapan ng mga olds. It's not anything that will interest a younger person, I guess.
Yeah, but I was thinking, when did they start? Diba? Probably na college na siguro sila when they started. Kasi mangbabarkada naman yan eh.
Mm-mm.
You know, like my husband's cousins, mga ganon. And it's fiesta time. Usually fiesta time is the one that where they have a lot of inuman. Fiesta. So,
So, kanya-kanyang
ganun lang siguro yun. Yeah, I suppose so.
eh,
There's one observation that I did. I had in the Cordilleras.
mhm.
You know, when they're passing the drink, diba? Here, next, next, next. If one of them, and they know that he is nangangaliwa, okay?
Oh,
You know what? When they pass the drink to him, it's not ano here in front. It's at the back.
oh,
Yeah, they told me that to let the guy know that they know and they don't think it's proper. Pero they will give him a drink. Kanya lang patalikod.
paano talikod? I mean,
No, I mean not patalikod. Kasi when you pass it, di ba sa front mo yan pinapas?
yeah.
Sa kanila, pag pinasahan ka sa likod,
Oh.
that's ano, that's how they know them.
There was,
Yeah, actually, I thought it was interesting.
yeah, the one that I joined once, but I was the person that did not drink, in that entire group, with
Mm.
Mayor Don Silang, then Mayor Don Silang. But I remember uh, he had it was very poetic the way he would speak about, how to start, etc. And then because I didn't drink, he had a little poem
Mm.
that, and then he said, touch it first to your lips, and then he got the small it's a shot glass from me, and then he
Mm.
said that he would drink it, but it was very poetic in Tagalog, and
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah. Kasi they have songs that they sing during the inuman. Yeah, I recorded one and then I don't know where I put it. And sayang because, you know, and then one of them, I think there's a certain old person in any community that would be like your mayor. Na, alam niya yung mga poems. And then this person, an uncle of Yen, would recite
mhm.
yung mga old poems of Waray old poems while they're drinking. Eh ako, I like to listen to it. So nandun lang ako sa isang tabi nakikinig. I
Inom.
didn't understand it, pero siguro maganda eh. It's beautiful,
Yes,
you know.
somebody should. That's part of oral literature, and I really think one of us, one a researcher, should go out and take this down, because they tell of the times, they tell of like what you
Mm.
said about passing the drink in the back,
Yeah, yeah.
these
Dapat talaga.
behavior, social gestures, and
Yeah.
baka you have
Well,
time, you can do the research on that.
I did partly in Quezon
Mm-hmm.
because this when we were there, we went to this house, one of the old houses in Sariaya,
Okay.
and then when we went in, they had lambanog with them, and then they offered it to us, and then they began singing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. a beautiful, beautiful song. And then I had to look for the lyrics because, of course, when you are hindi mo naman mare-record yun basta-basta. And so, one of them said, inom na, sa kamay galing, at sukdang ito'y lason, ay di ka papatayin.
Ooh.
Kung magkasakit ka, sa akin ang dahil, ako'y malayo man, iyong ipagdiling. How nice, no?
Mm. How lovely.
Tapos, yeah, and then, meron pa silang song, yung bibigyan nila ng wine, yung lambanog nila, meron din siyang song na sasabihin, ikakantahin. It says, itataas ko na'y hawak kong tagay at sa aking ulo ay nakakorona. Ang
No.
laman ba nito'y agua de colonia? Ay sa atay ko't puso ay doon ko kinuha. Ang tagay na yan, aking iinumin. Nice, no?
Oh,
At
nice.
ay sukdang lason, aking titiisin.
Oh. So,
You
um,
know?
so really, it is not just getting drunk, getting rowdy. I mean, that's the more anthropological take on it. It is really not to get drunk, but it is really to be together, to bond, and
Yes.
I think well, it is not a byproduct, but I think the literature that is well has
Ah,
been sustained, no, in Inuman, and Inuman is quite formidable, and
yeah.
very
Oo.
lovely.
And then they even have songs about those who get the uh, ano to, the tuba, ang manggigete, di ba? That those one, they have songs about that. They have songs about the tuba itself, where it is from.
Hmm.
And it's very strange that when I was in Leyte, one of Jen's cousins was talking about tuba, and I felt that I was talking to a wine grower in France because he was saying, alam mo yung tuba doon sa isang lugar na yon, maganda kasi yung lupa. Tapos, maganda yung ulan na
Kaya
nahuhulog doon.
maganda ang ulan.
Ulan. I
Mhm.
said, talaga? Actually, he was talking about terroir. I mean, it's like, teka nga muna. But why are they speaking the same language? Apparently it's an agricultural thing. It's really how you will get the best of a certain product. Ganun. And I found that so fascinating kasi akala ko yung mga French lang meron nun, tayo rin pala.
Yeah.
Ganun. And then there is actually a song. I don't know, do you remember yung kanta ng Dandansoy?
Yes, yes, I know.
Oh, it's waray. And it's Kondansoy. It's not Dandansoy. The name is a young boy named Kondansoy.
Hmm.
It's a Kondansoy, inom tuba laloy, dili kumu inom tuba pait aslom. Ang tuba sa baybay, patente mo angay, talaksan nga jutay, puno ang malaway. So it's like, I said, di ba dandansoy yan yung dandansoy? Iwang kita or something, that's a
Yes.
goodbye. Sabi na, no, but this is different. And you know where I got all these songs?
Mm.
From a book,
A book.
The Folk Songs, compiled and edited by Damiana L. Eugenio, De La Salle University Press.
Oh, Dr. Eugenio herself.
Yes. So she has all these folk songs. Saka ang maganda sa niya, libro niya, may notes. In other words, you can play it because there are notes.
Mm.
Diba? Ang
And, and
ganda. And then,
and these, I
ha?
suppose, and these are unauthored, no? Because these are the true, you
Mm.
classify as folk
Some
songs.
of them, some of them may author, like that song is attributed to E. Ratio Cruz.
Ir.
Uh, E. Ratio Cruz. He says it's identical to other versions found in Cebu, Bohol, and Tacloban. Uh, and then the Dandan Soy is Hiligay Nun. It's a farewell song. No? But this one is kondansoy. Tapos in Bicol, they have plastado sa bangko. Paglasing ka na.
Plastado sa bangko. I like that.
And then we have the warais and para inom. It is a drunkard who lies down in the street until morning. Kasi lasing na siya. My uncle who used to work in Leyte told me that sometimes when they come from their place of work, you have to be careful driving along the highway kasi nakahiga daw yung mga sa highway. Baka masagasaan mo. I said, totoo? Sabi niya, oh, I never knew that. And then, of course, I said the mananggit, the tuba gatherer, and the offering of the lambanog. They also have a song for that.
Mm-hmm.
Ganon, ang dami-dami. So, natutuwa ako kasi but it's also in this modern era of ours that our drinks are getting the recognition of international groups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know that the Philippines ranks as the third largest rum market in the world next to India and the United States?
Rum market.
Yeah, rum market. The biggest consumer of gin in the world is the Philippines.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that by chance. I was watching this interview on BBC, and they were talking about, one ingredient in gin that was, they were afraid na mawawala. So, mawawala na yung gin. Then they mentioned, in the Philippines, it's the biggest gin consumer in the world. I said, what? So, I had to research that. And then, totoo.
What was that ingredient? Is that a juniper
Yeah,
plant
juniper.
that they put in
Yes,
as
juniper.
a
Yeah. But
to
they said in that interview, juniper, konti lang daw ang ginagamit eh. That's why even if they say na nawawal, nagle-lessen yung ng juniper and supply, I said it's very little daw. So if you plant now, they can get it later on, di ba? Parang ganoon.
yeah. I think
Then,
it's also juniper that the Germans or the Dutch or the
mm.
Belgians also they put in their sauerkraut.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't know. Talaga. Maybe that's that's needed for fermentation kaya or
maybe
just
for an
flavor.
extra cake, or does it purify or take out the roughness? But going through the ranks or the inventory, you don't mix basi with something else. You don't put like Coke or a juice to uh to mix it.
Unlike tuba you can. Mm-mm.
You can tuba. Lambanog you
Mm-mm.
can also. But what do you normally mix with lambanog?
I don't really know. I haven't heard anything about that. They usually drink that pure.
Yes,
Oo.
which is
But I know tuba they do. And then remember during that session I asked which soft drink is better with tuba.
you mean you actually you mix it together? Soft drink, soft drink.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then
Coke,
I gave them a choice, Coke or Pepsi.
the sweeter one, I suppose.
Pepsi.
Pepsi is
You
sweeter.
know why?
Mm.
Um, because electricity came later, and then of course they didn't have ice,
Mm-hmm.
and it was easier for them to drink Pepsi than Coke without ice.
Because it was
So
sweet.
they were used to Pepsi. Yeah.
Or just used to the taste of Pepsi.
Oh, they're used to it, but at the same time, it was a preferred drink than Coke. Kasi Coke, you had to drink with ice.
Mm. But
Yeah.
what is the ratio? I mean, is it half and half, one part to three of o- o- how do they
No,
mix?
I think it's just to, sort of sa ibabaw lang, parang ganoon, to give it a little bit of flavor lang, but not really to immerse the thing in it to make, it will be different na, iba na yung lasa. Diba, if that's the case. I haven't heard, na, ma, Siguro they do it if bata ka pa. You know, parang ganun lang just to make it drinkable for you. But for the older ones, usually, I saw them actually with their Pepsi bottles there. Sometimes it's orange, the true orange.
Ah. But I don't know, maybe this is a singular occurrence or maybe it's an isolated case. My driver is from Surigao, and
Mm,
according to him, his father or his grandfather used to get his own tuba, let it
mm.
age, but just overnight. And you know what he mixes in it? Tablea, chocolate.
Talaga. Well, that's different, ah.
You know,
Okay, okay.
fermented
If it's
tapos
only
chocolate.
overnight,
I mean, I I was incredulous, but I said, "Have you tasted it?" He said, "Yes, masarap naman daw."
no, if it's overnight kasi, it's not really aged. So, have you ever drunk tuba na yung kakaano lang?
Yes, it's wonderful. It's
Sarap, ano?
very sweet, especially, a friend, well, common friend, Sunny Tino, would
Oh,
freeze
ayan.
it before he gives it to me because he comes from Nueva Ecija. And
Oo,
then,
oo.
yung frozen in the bottle, yung parang yelong kaskas yung loob. Ah,
Oo.
wonderful.
Yeah, no, I remember. And then my friend said, "Huwag ka masyadong iinom niyan." Sabi ko, "Bakit?" Kasi it can make you really big.
Oh,
Said, kasi ang sarap-sarap eh.
sarap sa, at saka ang tamis-tamis. I suppose that's pure sugar
Yeah,
because it ferments, no?
yeah,
And,
yeah.
but is there any other drink that we've missed? With tuba, basi, palut, tapoy, tapay.
Um, those are the what I would call our drinks talaga. Yung Filipino.
Mm.
There are many that are not here anymore.
Like,
Um, uh, kasi for instance, the Kabarawan. Kabarawan is from the Visayas.
mm-hmm,
There is a tree they get it from. It's usually burnt and then the trunk is ground and boiled and then until the liquid is left. The problem is, and then they would mix it to ferment, no?
mm-hmm.
This is the one that you see some people drink with the straw.
Okay.
Di ba? May mga pictures yun, ano? May
Mm-hmm.
nag-i-straw sila. Ganyan. And, when they went to Zamboanga, they made us drink that. Blah,
Oh,
blah. Not that good. But it's supposed to be like mead,
okay.
something like that. But I don't know. Maybe it was the bamboo straw. Ugh, it wasn't really that good. That's and then there are some naman made from ground rice or corn.
Mm-hmm.
Ground rice or corn. It's not offered anymore. But before they used to offer it to the diwata, the first drink to the diwata, and it's in Thai,
Mm-hmm.
pangasi.
Pangasi.
Okay. And then intus. Yes. And then there's intus. It's like basi. But it's also made from sugar. Okay.
Sugarcane.
Yes. And then they don't it's dark because a certain bark, not the one they do with basi, this one is darker now and
Mm-hmm.
they don't do it anymore also. So there's some na na these are they call it ancient alcoholic drinks that are not done anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But there are records of them though, something like that. So they know how
Mahirap
to do it.
gawin, or the botanical resource is extinct.
Yeah, like the tree, wala na. And they burn kasi the tree. That's
Yeah,
why.
I think they have to burn a tree.
Yeah. You have to burn a tree, then you put liquid, and then from that liquid they ferment it. Ganun. So but I didn't when I did this Inumang Pinoy, I didn't include anymore yung mga gin, yung mga rum,
Yeah, yeah.
because they're not our ancient Filipino drinks. They
Okay.
are the Spanish yan eh. They were the ones who introduced all these other drinks. Ganun.
But anyway, I think our usapan on inuman has been quite adequate. So
Yeah.
would like to thank you, Miss Micky Fenix, and we hope to invite you again for some other thing, some other
Yes, please.
usapan, not necessarily inuman. There's
Yeah. Yeah.
so many things to talk about, food,
Yeah.
other resources. Please stay safe. And thank you very much, Mickey. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Clara.
Thank you so much for the happy hour, Mickey. Inuming Pinoy, Inumang Pinoy. Pampagana, pampalakas ng loob, pampalubag ng sama ng loob, pampatibay ng pakikipagkaibigan. And in older times, an offering to the deities, a ritual principle, and for sure, a coconut cup that cheered and has continued to do so. To our listeners, thank you for spending time with us. MusKKat has planned a number more of podcasts, and we invite you to join us as we tackle various usapin with our Usapan, with experts, storytellers, and bearers of tangible and intangible culture. Maraming salamat po.